Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back for another video. So over this past weekend, the channel has hit the 2-year mark. So the 2-year anniversary was on the 14th. I had to work over the weekend, so I couldn't do a video for that, but I did open a poll letting you guys know that I was going to do sort of a 2-year Q&A and let you guys ask some questions. So today we're going to answer those. Before we get to that though, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who has watched the channel, who has subscribed and liked and commented and helped support the channel. All the Patreon supporters who have helped me continue to be able to reinvest into the channel, and whether it was when I needed a new tripod or getting little things for the channel or whatever. That has been a huge help as well. Took a huge pay cut when I moved back this year, so that's been super helpful for me. If you guys want to join the Patreon, check out the link down below. It's in the description. I have some pretty cheap tiers, offering like some exclusive stickers, like chip stickers for Beyblade X, as well as some other stickers as well. I'm working on reprinting some Team Nizuma stickers as well to get out to Patreon supporters. So I am working on that this week. I've been a little bit behind on getting those out, so definitely prioritizing getting that done this week. But yeah, it's been 2 years. Doesn't feel like it's been 2 years. I mean, I guess it does, but at the same time, it doesn't. I've kept pretty consistent for the past 2 years. I think on average, over the course of the last 2 years, it's been about 5 videos a week for 2 years, which is a lot. So yeah, it's been good, and I haven't burned out. I've been able to stay pretty consistent and interested in creating content, and I plan to continue to do it for the foreseeable future. The main goal for this year is 10K, which I think we might hit 9K by the end of this month. I'm hoping for 10K by next month because October is my birthday, but that would be a cool gift to myself just to hit 10K. That's been a big goal for basically the last year and a half or so. I don't know, 10K just feels like substantially more significant than like, I don't know, 8,000 or 5,000 or 6,000. Like 10K, you're going up a digit. I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling. We're going to get into it. If you guys have any additional questions for me, feel free to leave them down in the comments below, and maybe I'll make a part 2 to this, or I might just respond to you in the comments. But yeah, I thought this would be kind of a fun thing to do. As always, hit the like for the algorithm. Drop a comment, even if you don't have a question. It helps the algorithm when people engage with the video, so that would be a huge help for me. So let's go ahead and get into the questions. So first one we've got is by Frangicite J17. I'm going to mess up some of these names, so I apologize in advance. If you had to pick only one Beyblade from each generation, what would it be? For Plastic Gen, it would probably be Galleon 2. For Metal Fight, it would probably be Vulcan Horusius. And for Burst, Burst is kind of hard because there's a lot that I like. Probably Drain Fafnir. And then for X, Leon Claw. I don't think that's a surprise. All right. Thank you for the question. Next question is by Kamika. What was my first Beyblade? How did I get into Beyblade? My first Beyblades, I bought 2, was Dragoon S and Drigger F. I got into Beyblade after seeing an advertisement for the show, for the anime. I waited like a week. I was like salivating because it just looked so cool to me, and then I ended up watching it, got super into it, and I think that same week I bought those 2 Beyblades, which I ended up giving one to my brother. I gave him Drigger F, so I guess you could say that Dragoon S is technically my first Beyblade because I gave one of them to my brother, and that was the one that the Dragoon S is the one that I kept. That's the question. Next question is by Namu Wonderling YouTube. Simple one. Who or what inspired you to start your own Beyblade channel? So kind of multifaceted question. I actually started making TikTok content first for Beyblade. So this was during COVID, and there's a Bay talker, I guess. His name was Tivy. I don't think he still makes content, but I was just scrolling through TikTok and I saw him doing content. I was like, I could do this. I know a lot about I and I was just scrolling and I saw him, making content. I was like, I could do this. I know a lot about Beyblade. It's like one of my favorite franchises from my childhood. I pretty much have kept up with Beyblade since launch. There have been little breaks in between, like if I've lost interest in a series, but I always end up coming back to it. But after watching his content, I was like, I'll start making some videos. So I started making TikTok videos, and then I became friends with Eddie Beyblade, and he suggested that I come over to YouTube, which I hesitated for a while because it just seemed like more work than I was wanting to invest. I wanted to keep it pretty casual, but I did ultimately end up moving to YouTube because I wanted to make longer content than what I felt like I could do on TikTok. And that's basically how it started. What's my favorite Beyblade ever? That's a really hard question. I don't know if I can narrow it down to one because each of the generations are like so different from each other. I could do like, the previous question, which asked if I could pick one from each generation. That would probably be my answer more or less. But there are others like from Plastic Gen that I really like, and Metal Fight and Burst and X. It's hard. It's so hard to narrow it down to just one. What do you think of the custom Bey scene? So I am really impressed by the things that people come up with, especially the people that like 3D model their own Beyblades and like 3D print them and stuff. I think that's so cool. Eventually, I would like to get a 3D printer and like delve more into creating custom stuff. But yeah, custom Beyblade's very cool. Even like custom painted. I don't know. Yeah, it's very cool. I really like how far that technology has come, especially with 3D printing, because like you can literally just design a Beyblade and 3D print it, and that's so cool to me. Also, that was by Axis Corp, and the previous question was Hockey Gods. All right, next up we've got Nathaniel O. Soup. How your journey as a Beytuber has been so far, and your notable achievements or moments so far that you felt were the most impactful to you, as well as your goals up to year 3. And if you get your own custom Bey for you by Benchblade, since you've said you love cat-themed Beys, and that other Beytubers have their own custom X-Beys as well, if you desire to have a Beyblade that can accompany you on your Bey journey alongside your current X-Bey partner, Leon Claw. Okay, so I'll answer those sort of in sequence there. My journey as a Beytuber so far has been great. When I started the channel, like I said, it was during COVID, and I had just moved to another state. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any friends. My family wasn't close. So I was extremely isolated, and my work was taking over my life. So starting making content allowed me to have something else to focus on and work on. And it also sort of injected me back into the community, and I've made a ton of friends that have been super valuable to me. I think more than making content, the community is probably the thing that I value most. Like, getting views is cool. Like, people's reception of my content's cool, but like the actual people that I've met, I think are like far more valuable to me than the actual channel, if that makes sense. Like people like Swift, and Zenki and Illinuk and Blaster and the people in my Discord, Lucario, Ryuko. Like there's so many people that I've become pretty close friends with. It's crazy. It's crazy. I didn't expect that when I started. That's definitely been one of the most impactful things to me. In terms of notable achievements for the channel, Hitting 1,000 subscribers was a big one. I think 10K will be the next big one. But like being able to go to Beyblade West and meet up with Swift and Eddie and APAC and Shindog and all of these really good players, that was super cool to me. Anytime I go to a tournament, meeting other YouTubers or other players or fans of the channel or whatever, like the community is my favorite part, hands down. The community, like being able to sort of connect with people and share a hobby with them, is so great. Like I think a lot of that has been lost with the rise of video games. Not saying there's anything wrong with video games, because I love video games and I've spent a lot of time playing video games. But with like things like esports, especially like Fortnite and Apex and all these competitive games, like people have moved further away from real life social interaction, I think, to the detriment of themselves and to everybody else. Like it's one of the things that I've really enjoyed about getting back into Beyblade competitively is the social aspect and getting out of my house and like actually interacting with people. Like it's such a weird thing. Even like younger kids, it's so good to see them doing something that isn't a video game. Because like nowadays, like if I go outside or I'm driving and I see a kid outside, I'm like, oh man, he must be grounded from his Xbox. Is my first thought. Is like, oh, his parents must have told him to get off the video game, which is like not good. That's the first thing that crosses my mind. So it's good. I'm glad that like I think a lot of people feel that way. I think a lot of people are like missing socializing, especially after the couple of years where basically everywhere was locked down. So that part's been really great. In terms of wanting my own custom XP, that would be great. I would never ask Benchblade for that, though. I would never. I wouldn't ask anyone for that, though. It would be cool, but it's definitely not something that I would be like, hey, you want to make me a Beyblade? But it would be neat. All right. Okay, we've got another question from Kamika. He says, where was your first Beyblade battle? So after I got my first 2 Beyblades and I gave one to my brother, our first battle was on the lid of like a Tupperware container. Like it was a long rectangular white lid, and we played on top of that, which is like not that interesting. One of the most memorable battles though that I've had was in a concrete bird bath that had dried out, and me and my buddy played in that. He had Bump King and I had a Dragoon S, and we battled. It was in this like perfectly circular bird bath. It was like the perfect stadium. Obviously not great for the tips, but it was fun. Dino Blade asks, are you interested in prehistoric animals and paleontology? Yes, dinosaurs I think are really cool. I really like ancient history in general. I'm a big fan of ancient Egyptian history and mythology, dynastic and pre-dynastic Egypt. I find very interesting. It blows my mind. But yeah, I'm very interested in ancient history in general. But specifically Egypt definitely has always kept my interest. In terms of prehistoric animals, dinosaurs are cool. Do you think Beyblade can be combined with physics? I think Beyblade is already combined with physics. You can't have Beyblade without physics. If you can do a fusion with someone like Dragon Ball Z, who or what would you fuse with? Who would I fuse with? Is there anybody I like enough to fuse with them? My cat. I'd fuse with Max. We would become the ultimate Beyblade combo. Beyblader combo. Me and my cat, my cat Max. God, nobody draw fan art of that, please. That's like a furry's dream right there. Alex Smith asked, what do you think, hope the future of Beyblade X looks like? Mechanics, parts, competitive scene, etc. In terms of competitive scene, I'm really hoping Hasbro rolls out competitive scene for the West. I know it was sort of leaked that Wizards of the Coast was going to handle that. That has yet to be like confirmed. We don't know if that's still happening. I'm hoping it is, and I'm hoping that when that happens, it will be an open league or multiple leagues. That way, people over the age of like 12 can compete. Because historically, Beyblade has always had a cap on the age participants, and that would suck. So hopefully, they create an open league for adults because every other country that has official tournaments does. So yeah. In terms of mechanics and parts, just like more complicated parts, mostly bits are the main thing that I'm looking for. Metal flat, metal ball, rubber sharp, um, like a rubber semi-flat, like RSF or even like something like RDF would be cool. Uh, you know, bearing tip. I know a lot of people don't want bearing, but I think it would be cool in X. I don't think it would be super OP in X, just because things are pretty easy to KO. All right. I have one. Where did your love for cats come from? I've always loved cats since I was a kid. I've just always really liked cats. I couldn't tell you why. I just think they're cool. Cats are cool. I don't know. But I've had cats for a pretty long time now, so it's just my favorite animal. I've always liked cats, small cats, big cats, lions, tigers, all of them. Felines in general, I just think are like really cool creatures. Also, that was my absurdum. Next question, Mohammed. We know your favorite Beyblade is Leon Claw, but what about Leon Crest? And are you always changing your Leon Claw combo, or do you have your own combo? Leon Crest is going to be going into my deck. It won't be replacing Leon Claw. I'll just be using both. I think they both have different utility, so I'll just use both. I think Leon Crest is really good, so I don't think it's like to the detriment of the deck. I think adding two like lower tier blades can make it complicated, but I don't think Crest does that. So I'll just use both of them in my deck. In terms of changing my combo, it depends on the rest of my deck. Leon Claw I pretty much always use on taper in terms of the bit. In terms of the ratchet, depending on what else I'm running, sometimes I'll switch it up between 960 and 560, potentially 760 now that that's a thing. But more often than not, it's Leon Claw on 560 taper or 960 taper. Favorite Dynamite Battle or Burst Ultimate Bays? I don't have any. I'll be honest. Everything towards the end of Burst, I didn't really care for. In my opinion, they got way too big, way too over-engineered. The designs got too excessive, like over-designed. I personally didn't care for late Burst releases. What's your favorite Beyblade X from Hockey Gods? Leon Claw. Also, the previous question was by NXCZBFFDS the 32nd. Whatever that means. Okay, next question. Chaos Leo 815. If you could create your own Beyblade X Bay, what would the name be called? The shape of the layer, ratchet, made up bit shape, and what gimmick would you add to it? What would the launcher look like for you to use? If I had to create my own X Beyblade, it would probably be cat themed, like house cat, right? Shape of the layer or the blade would be probably like something in the shape of a cat head. I think would be cool in the vein of like Galleon 2. In terms of the bit, it would probably be something like Metal Flat. I think Metal Flat would be pretty good in X. So nothing too crazy there. In terms of a launcher, I would just use a regular string launcher, maybe a yellow one to match my color scheme. I kind of want to get the tournament prize gold one because that's like the closest to yellow currently. In terms of grip, I would really like to see a carabiner grip or a shorter grip than what we have because I like my hand to be over the prongs, and the current grips end up pushing the prongs past your hand by a good bit, and I don't like that, which is why I don't tend to use a grip. But if we had a carabiner grip that was like shorter, that would be more ideal for me. So something like that. Next question by Samuel. Are there any Metal Fight era Beyblades you would consider a guilty pleasure? Mercury Anubis. I love the design of Mercury Anubis. It's not good. Trust me, I've tried. Not good, but it is by far one of my favorites aesthetically from Metal Fight. I think it looks amazing. Lucario says, oh dang, that's crazy to think about. I still remember getting back into Beyblade and found your channel. Yeah, 2 years ago. That's crazy that it's been 2 years ago, man. As for Q&A, with the existing homage bays, Cobalt Drake, Cobalt Dragoon, Vice Tiger, Black Shell, Silver Wolf, do you think the cast of the original Bakugan Shoot series would use those bays as they transition to the X system? Probably. Probably. I mean, it seems like a good sort of... It seems like it would be a linear transition. So I want to say yes. Next question by Omega Zero. Can I suggest theories for future seasons of X2 if that counts as well? Oh, he asked a question about submitting a question. Well, too late, but you can post them in the comments. Ponchik says orchestral versus nightcore for epic battle music. Probably nightcore, although for most of my videos, I generally do like easy listening, coffee shop, soundtrack, jazz type stuff, just because like I like those sort of like more calm vibes. I know a lot of people do like the heavy, fast-paced stuff, but I like to keep things pretty mellow for my videos. I don't want it to be like too over the top. You're my favorite pizza place. What is Nazuma's favorite food? I really like hot wings, like fried chicken wings covered in hot sauce. Hot wings are really good. Sushi I also really like. Korean food, like Korean barbecue and stuff, also really good. I'm not super picky, but like Asian food and then like pub food, I guess, like hot wings. Nick's Nerd Cave asks, what's your favorite memory from Beyblade? Could be as a kid or adult. Favorite memory is hard because, like, I've been into Beyblade since Plastic Gen. So we're talking, like, decades of Beyblade at this point. But probably when I first got into it, like, battling with my brother and, like, you know, the neighbor friends and stuff, like, you know, it's like that period of my life in terms of Beyblade, it's like so nostalgic. Not even so much like the anime and stuff, but just battling with my friends. Like, I remember like, you know, we both had video cameras and we would like film the battles. We wouldn't do anything with it because like YouTube didn't even exist at this point, but we would just like film it just so we could watch them back ourselves. And we just sit there and build combos and battle for like hours. A lot of good memories. A lot of good memories as a kid playing with Beyblade. Beyblade X, best sandwich you've had since starting your channel. I had a sub the other day. From... Oh, you know what? There's a sub place in Georgia where I had moved to. I've since moved back to Tennessee, but in Georgia there's a sub place in Savannah called Baldino's. Their subs are so good. Their subs are amazing. We don't have them here sadly, but yeah, I ate those a lot down in Savannah. Anime Manga 1234 says cool looking for a giveaway. I really need to do a giveaway. Speaking of which, I need to announce the sticker sheet winners that I did for the cotton custom. Yeah, I need to do that. I completely forgot. All right. Blaster says, why is Plastic Gen your favorite? Do you know how many videos you've made across all YouTube channels? Do you have an evil twin? Why is Plastic Gen my favorite? I mean, there's definitely some nostalgia. However, I think the Plastic Gen anime is objectively the most cohesive in terms of plot and characters and progression. I think it has the best character progression, the best like character arcs. Like it doesn't just focus on Tyson. Um, we see a lot of backstory for all of the Blade Breakers, which I really like. It's just I think the plot overall and the storytelling for Plastic Gen is objectively the best we've had so far. That's not to say that one can't come along that is better, but I think as a whole, I think the original series is the best, especially to go back and try to rewatch. With the exception of the second season. I think V-Force is like probably the weakest of the 3 seasons for Plastic Gen. Ironically, because I think most of the later season or the later generations, the second season tends to be where it's the best. But yeah, I don't know. I just think the anime is really good. In terms of the toys, the reason why I think Plastic Gen did things the best, one is I really like the model kit aspect. It's something they did a lot back in the early 2000s. A lot of like hobby anime stuff had basically came as model kits that you had to build, and there's something very like visceral about that experience of building your own Beyblade. Same thing with like Beat 'em On, Mini 4-Wheel Drive. Like there's a lot of franchises that came as kits that you had to build. I really like that aspect of it, but with that comes the ability to basically pull apart every single piece of the Beyblade. So imagine being able to take a bearing from Burst or Metal Fight or whatever, and literally being able to separate the halves, take the shaft out, take the bearing out, test your other bearings, find which bearing's the best, swap it back in. Like you can min-max Plastic Gen to like every singular piece. So in terms of customization and just ability to like really get your hands into every singular aspect of the Beyblade, I think that is one of the reasons why I like it so much, because like there's so many more pieces that you can pull apart and like factor into the combo and stuff, which I think is really cool. How many videos have you made across all YouTube channels? I don't know. So I have over 400 videos on this channel. I had an art channel, which also had hundreds, I think. And then I had another 2 channels. I had one of my first ones that was like just mixed content, and then another one that was also just mixed content, like just nerdy whatever content. And I had videos on those as well. I have like probably 4 other YouTube channels on YouTube. None of them were like, I wasn't trying to gain an audience with those channels. I was just like enjoying a hobby or just like talking about things or whatever. I think the art channel is the one that I probably had. I think at this point, this channel probably has the most videos, but second is probably the art channel. And the art channel I did for years. And I would do like live streams for hours just drawing and talking and stuff. So like a huge chunk of my life during that period is like still on YouTube. The whole channel's privated, so you can't watch it. But all of that content is still there. I've thought about doing a video documenting that period where I was drawing a lot. I would like to get back to drawing, but it like drawing comics is what I was doing. I wasn't like just doing like singular illustrations. I was drawing comics, but I would like to make a little video documenting that chunk of my life because I have a lot of nostalgia for the art period of my life. And I really like art. I really like drawing. It's not something I've really done on this channel. I did one live stream where I think I inked a page. It might still be in my live streams if you look back like a year and a half or something. But I would like to get back to that. Anyway, that's kind of off on a tangent. Do I have an evil twin? I actually have a twin sister. I wouldn't call her evil, though. I might have when we were kids, but nah, she's pretty cool. Veggie Boy says, were you the best blader at school, or did you get beat most of the time? I was the best at every school I went to. So I didn't play at school, but I played with my neighborhood friends. And I was always like super deep into it compared to like my best friend. And my best friend was the kind of guy who would get like mad if he ever lost at anything. So like he would quit if he started losing. So like if he lost at Yu-Gi-Oh, he would quit. If we would play Dungeon Dice Monsters, he would quit. We'd play Mario Kart on DS, like because we were neighbors, and we would play through the walls like late at night, like under our blankets or whatever. And he'd be in first place, then I'd like hit him with a shell and just go past him and get first. And like as soon as I crossed the line, it would just disconnect because he'd power his DS off, and then he'd go into Picto Chat and be like, "The game cheated." um, but yeah, I would say I was at least better than him. Oh my god. Oh. Queso Blanco says, "Is your real name Nizuma? If not, where did it come from?" My real name is not Nizuma. The name actually is half of my name from my previous art channel, which is taken from the character Eiji Nizuma from Bakuman, which is a manga / anime written and illustrated by Takeshi Obata and Tsugumi Oba, the guys who did Death Note. It's basically a story about two friends that start drawing manga. I got into it actually while I was drawing comics and stuff, and like it was like this double-edged thing where like I was drawing comics and I was watching this show about drawing comics that was motivating me to keep drawing comics. I really love Bakuman. It's one of my favorite anime. If you haven't watched it, check it out. It's top tier. Definitely one of my top favorite anime of all time. Super good. Kendo Fox Planet says, "Is there any chance in the future that Keyblader 007 might guest on your channel, or perhaps Zankcast?" Possibly. If I could get him on, I would love to have a conversation with him. I think I'd have to ask Zanky about it, but he might be interested in that as well. I don't know how active Keyblader is. I still talk to him actually, but I don't think he's like really keeping up with X so much. I think he might have watched an episode or two, but he's not. He doesn't actively like collect or play Beyblade anymore. But it would be interesting just because he had everything, and he was really like the first Beytuber. He was uploading videos back before that term even existed, before Metal Fight existed. He was one of the first that was consistently posting Beyblade content. And the cool thing about his channel is he had stuff nobody else had. He had like all of these crazy stadiums for Plastic Gen from Japan that nobody had ever seen before. And he's actually, to this day, the only YouTuber that has content on some of those stadiums. So you can still find his channel on YouTube and watch some of those old videos. They're like 240p because, this is back before YouTube was even widescreen. But if you want to see some crazy old Plastic Gen content back in like 2009, yeah, check his channel out. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I would be interested to potentially have him on and just have a conversation with him because it's been a long time. Stinky Lizard asks, "Has this ever happened to you? Have you been a victim of unfair treatment by a business or corporation? Has this ever happened to you?" I don't think so. You bought a house, but it was not disclosed to you that there was a termite infestation in the walls and in the moldings. So you have to take it upon yourself to call your own termite extermination company. But when the guys show up, they immediately ask, can they use your bathroom? And for over 2 hours, they take turns going in and out, taking huge mud pies and over-flushing. Then they go in there together, and you hear a bunch of scrounging around. And then you hear a bunch of yelling, and one of them stands in the bathroom doorway, shouting at you that his friend's foot is stuck in the toilet, and he says, "Help him." You gotta help him. And when you go in there to help him, he pulls it out easily and laughs because his foot wasn't stuck. It wasn't stuck at all. He was just faking it. And then he gets really serious and says, "It's turbo time." And they both start running around the house as fast as they can and jumping over the couches. But when you try and jump in, they yell at you and say, "You're not part of the turbo team. Don't run. Don't run with us. We're the ones who run. Until you're part of the turbo team, walk slowly." So you go and lay down to be by yourself and read your art books. But then the next day you went to the bathroom and it looks like the hole in your toilet had shrunk. And you said, "How could that be? There's no way they could have shrunk the toilet." But then you saw in the trash a receipt from Home Depot for a toilet the exact same size as yours, but with a joke hole that's just for farts. What the fuck? They replaced your real... I can't. Has that ever happened to you? I can't say that it has. That was the final question. Thank you for that, stinky lizard. Oh my god, what was that? Oh, what's up, Belle? Come here, buddy. Belle, you want your YouTube debut? This is my other cat, Belle. This is Bellfire. You a good boy? You a good boy? Yeah. All right. So, I got a cat hair in my mouth. Yeah, that's it, guys. That is 2 years on YouTube. So hopefully we can continue to grow. Hopefully the community continues to grow. Hopefully X gets insanely popular and everybody else making content and enjoying content can continue to grow and invest in the franchise. I enjoy it a lot. I have a lot of things planned for the future. As always, I always have things on the back burner or things in the works. So looking forward to continuing this journey with everybody. Again, I want to thank all of you guys that watch the videos and like and comment. I read every single comment. I like and heart every single comment. Like getting comments is like great. I love seeing the feedback. I love seeing the conversation. Even if I don't reply to every single one, I love seeing other people talk about it, and I love reading it and seeing everybody's thoughts on the franchise or combos or reviews or whatever content I'm doing or whatever. It's great. So thank you guys so much for 2 years. I appreciate it. You guys are great. You guys have fundamentally improved my life over the last 2 years. So like I said, during COVID, I had moved. I had just actually, prior to moving, I had dealt with some really severe health issues. And so I was in the hospital for about a week. And it's the first time I'd ever had any sort of health issues. And so I wasn't in a great place mentally. I was very stressed, very anxious, and was just dealing with a lot of things that were not super nice. So creating content was a great way for me to occupy my mind and work on something that, while is just a kid's toy or a hobby or whatever, felt productive to me. It felt like a way to invest my time into something rather than just being a ball of anxiety and stress, especially after I moved and was working this new job that was also sucking up a huge chunk of my life. So yeah, thank you guys. You guys have really improved my life for the better, in terms of my happiness and my sense of community, and it's been great. So thank you guys. I know everybody doesn't always agree when it comes to Beyblade or combos or the meta or what they like or don't like or whatever, but that doesn't matter. That's just part of the conversation. That's part of the hobby. But I just want to let you guys know that I appreciate all of you guys being part of the community, being part of the Beytubers and the Beyblade community as a whole, and being part of my channel. So thanks again. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one.